It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. There's two things I want to show you in this review. The first one being a beer. Of course, it's a beer. Now, I picked up a bottle of the new Köningsgold German lager in Home Bargains, and that cost me £1.39 for a 500ml can, 4.8% ABV. Germany, original quality premium. It's got written on it all the nice words you want to hear, and it also talks about the German purity law, which is also fantastic. That's the Reichsgebot of 1516, I think it is, where to be able to call a beer, it has to be malt, hops, yeast and water. 4 ingredients. Any more ingredients, you're not allowed to call it beer in Germany, which I love. I love that. Right, let's get this lager out into a glass and see what we get. It's coming up to Christmas, so we've hit book season, and I'm really excited to show you today's book. It's by Johnny Garrett from the Craft Beer channel. I've known Johnny a number of years now. I've probably known Johnny on and off for about 11 years. 11 years. Doesn't time go by? Whenever I see Johnny, always a smile, always clink glasses, and he's just a fun loving beer drinking guy that's very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable on beer. So we'll talk about his book, The Meaning of Beer, in a moment. Really interesting because it's all about kind of civilization, stuff that I'm interested in, history, archaeology, everything that I'm interested in, plus beer. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, let's get this beer. Let's have a look at it. So we've got a 2-finger whitehead, good levels of carbonation, amber coloured beer in the glass. Let's get the aroma. Yeah, just solid German beer. Solid German lager. I think what's happened here, I've got a funny feeling that Home Bargains have perhaps contacted a German brewery here and agreed to have this contract brewed for them. It's a beer that I've never heard of. It's a German beer that I've never heard of, and interestingly, there's no real sign of the brewery here. You know, it's probably called Köningsgold Brewery, but there's no real like address and whatnot. So I got a funny feeling this is contract brewed for Home Bargains. If I'm wrong, comment in the comments box. But it's a really good lager at a really decent price, £1.39. A little bit of stinging nettle, a little bit of crisp malt. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah. Oh. Just incredible. Just absolutely incredible. Good drinkability, lovely, crisp, biting malt flavours coming through. You can really taste the grain in the beer. A little bit of sweetness over here. Then we're talking about bitterness on the back end, so there's some nice herbal, peppery, stinging nettle hops on the back end, probably Saaz hops. A traditional kind of Czech German hop that they use to produce this lovely biting finish on the beer. Absolutely tremendous. It's a beer, this sort of lager beer, as a lot of you will know, has fallen in my grasp over the last few years. I've really fallen in love with really good quality German lager, and this is another one of them. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. I could drink pints and pints of this. Wonderful. So, did you know, I'm going to make sure I'm right here, they used to build the pyramids. There's all sorts of beer talk and references to beer and documents, and they used to carve out on the stone walls of the pyramids pictures of beer. Beer used to be a currency. In fact, it's thought that beer was such a currency that it helped build the pyramids. There was a man who had a pyramid built in Egypt, and it was built on the currency of beer. Had to be great quality beer, but it was built on beer. And this is the thought process behind this book here. If you think of companies like Budweiser, the Budweiser family were a German family that's probably Czech German, that sort of thing, went over to America, did really well, brewing their German beer in America, so they started to build a factory. They built a factory, and then the next thing you know, they wanted to get their beer around different states in America, so they had to package it, they had to bottle it, they had to can it. Next thing you know, factories are kind of like mass-produced factories are starting to come up in America, and the idea behind factories and the idea behind like production, like fitting a light on a car at Henry Ford's factory, boom, boom, boom. That mass-produced cycle of work goes back to, of course, the production of beer, if you like. They needed to make a bottle, they needed to make it over and over and over again. So beer kind of, also beer, people who used to, we were, what was it like? We weren't settling down in certain places. We'd move around. We were nomadic, that was it. We were nomadic people thousands and thousands of years ago. And it's the idea that we found beer, probably a bubbling puddle that malt has fallen into, some grain has fallen into, and the sun's hit the puddle and it's started to ferment, and somebody tasted that bubbling puddle, and boom, next thing you know, they found beer. So they couldn't move around anymore if they wanted to make beer. They had to settle in one place. So there's even an idea that beer invented farming. So we started to grow malt and barley in certain areas, stuck in one area now because we had the invent of beer. And that, of course, farming then went from beer to animals and everything else. So there's this real kind of like thought that beer is the central reason why kind of everything exists today. And it's all, the meaning of beer, it's all in this book. There was another one, it was a scientist, and he was studying the yeast in the beer, and he come across like bacteria or something, and he come across something very, very important. Some people think it was milk. He was studying bacteria in milk, but he was actually studying bacteria in beer. Again, all in this book, The Meaning of Beer by Johnny Garrett. Pick it up. That's going to be that arrived yesterday, so I haven't read it yet. That's going to be my bedtime reading up till Christmas. I'm looking forward to it. Pick your copy up now. So rating for this beer, just a solid German lager. Good look, good head retention, good aroma. Fantastic taste. And £1.39. £1.39 per can. Currently in home bargains. Stone the Crows, 9 out of 10 for the beer. 9 out of 10 for the beer. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.